Yeah, just waiting for your link to show up here.
Okay. Can you just copy of Batman, dude?
Oh, Batman.
Okay. That's right. This is a good joke. Hi, guys. I got the books. Give me 1 second. Cam, can you move this over there or something? Thanks, man.
No, not doing that.
So many things in my way. Hi.
Zooming in on your butt.
Zooming in on my butt.
Yep.
Nice. I got a good butt. Let me get the mask off. We are almost ready. We are still queuing up Instagram.
It's on Green Machine now. And except for you, whenever you're ready to go live.
Oh, can you do Instagram sideways?
No, I can't.
Just, okay.
It's just vertical.
Okay.
We learned that during the auction.
Oh, God, I messed it up, Yogi. You got to fix it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Instagram angers and confuses ape. Sorry.
There you go.
That doesn't work. Now everything's blurry. Why is everything blurry? Oh, because your hand, it's backwards. I still messed up. Let's bring it down and then go live. Hello, Instagram. Let's go live. Everything's crooked and messed up.
This is way.
Oh, God. Can we just bring it around here? Bend this damn thing and get it working. All right. Kind of. Okay.
Don't touch.
Don't touch nothing. I think we got it.
Right.
Okay. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all at the same time. I haven't gotten Twitch working. No, the hell with it. Twitch, we were getting onesie, twosie viewers, and I think I saw Carl jump over to YouTube last week. Pop culture news.
A bunch of stuff
just happened. We saw Marvel's Phase 4. I hope. Why? This isn't live. Oh, we didn't go live on Instagram yet. I didn't hit live. We're live now on Instagram, so we're good. Marvel's Phase 4 movie preview trailer dropped. It dropped a bunch of movies, but at the end of the Phase 4 trailer, we saw a very interesting 4. One that made me scream. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't sure, like I was like, oh, that's the family. That's Cam confirmed it when I came in today, because Cam is on top of his game always. But yeah, pretty sure we're getting a Fantastic Four bonus movie, and fingers crossed they finally get the first family correct. What else? Pop culture news. What else?
It is May the 4th. So May the 4th.
Oh yeah, it's May the 4th. We will have Star Wars cards as long as they last. So come in for May the 4th, or come in for Revenge of the 5th. Just come in. We'll have cards for you.
Bad Batch came out.
Bad Batch came out. We watched half of it today. I thought it was amazing, but I haven't seen most of the Clone Wars. I've seen the original Gennady Tarkelston, but I haven't seen the one that came after. I know that's kind of blasphemy as a Star Wars fan. I've read like a giant portion of the expanded universe, like a huge amount of Star Wars comics. I know the lore of Quinlan Vos probably better than most people who wrote it. But I did not watch hardly any of that Clone Wars TV show. I'm not sure why, and I didn't watch Rebels either. I don't know what it is. I just don't jive with the animation. I can't figure it out. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe I need to give it another chance. It's fair. What else? Anything else? Any other pop culture news?
Disney parks opened up. That said, June we're still looking at opening up everything.
Disney parks opened up. Hopefully we're gonna open up everything. I'm not holding my breath because India is in a literal apocalypse right now, and so is Canada.
We have.
That's true. So, fingers crossed. But we also have, I'm pretty sure a lot of them trust science. We have people that don't. Let's not get into that. What else? Anything else? I can't think of any other pop culture news. I think we covered it all. I will tell you that we are the Green Machine Comic Show. Hello, friends and fans of fun. We are the best hidden secret of social media. We will review almost all of the comics that you would love to get your hands on, and we will have most of them too. DC, from DC to Image to Marvel, I try to review everything. It is a lot of reading, but I tend to get most of it done pretty good. And we're gonna jump in here. First thing is Weslugas. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. Kumar and Ferraro Jr. And we're talking about Man-Bat versus Batman. There is a lot of Man-Bat going on right now, like just a metric ton. I would say this is the weakest of the Man-Bat books. Keep in mind, I like that they fleshed out his relationship with his sister a bit better. And I like Kirk. I don't know. The story, it's okay. It's okay. The first two, I think, were really, really good. The third's kind of fallen off. The fourth, centered around like dealing with Scarecrow, and eventually the fight with Batman. I don't know. Did I see the worst of the Man-Bat books? I mean, issue number 4 is the weakest of the series. Is what I meant to say. The other 3 issues were, well, the third issue was okay. The first 2 were pretty strong. This one was just okay. So I would say don't jump in here. It is building for a pretty awesome fight. Obviously, it's versus Batman. But I would say don't jump in there. Give it a few issues. Or go back a couple issues. Next is Ridley. Oh, John Ridley is on this. That's right. John Ridley is on this. I love John. Ridley, Foreman, Morales, Livesay, and Locust. We're talking about the next Batman, Second Son. Man, I really love Jace Fox. They're dealing with one of the Fox siblings being poisoned. Fox, yeah, I think it's their sister. One of them is it's their sister, right? They got poisoned. Okay, thanks, Cam. One of their sisters got poisoned. We know the other one eventually becomes the next Batman's sidekick. Meanwhile, Batwing's trying to get to the bottom of it, and it's actually a pretty wild read. I'm loving everything about this. But they're setting the stage for this big Orwellian like Gotham that is coming. And I can't wait to see how that turns out. We all thought it was going to be like Batman Beyond, but it's more like 1984 Gotham. Which, I mean, let's be honest, dude, it sort of fits Gotham. Anyways, the next Batman Second Son is really great. I can't recommend that book enough, and this hasn't changed anything. Schmidt, McKeown, Hitch, Vines, Olaf, and Sinclair. We're talking about Crime Syndicate. I love this book for all the wrong reasons. It is the most brutal Justice League book there is. And I kind of like the Crime Syndicate. They're sort of, I don't know. I just like them because they're so dark and sinister and messed up. And this iteration of them is just that. It's a really messed up Justice League. Like, if our Justice League encountered Starro, they'd want to figure out what was going on. If this Justice League encounters Starro, they just want to kill him flat out, even if he's struggling. They don't give a crap. And something about that is really fun and messed up. Next is a book. This is going to be my DC pick of the week. I know some people are going to object because there's a first appearance in another book. This is my DC pick of the week. This is Thorne, Soy, Santucci, and Sinclair. This is Green Lantern. I got to tell you, as a Jeff Johns fan, there has not been a lot of Lantern Corps stuff that ever holds a candle to Jeff Johns. It takes a lot for me as a Jeff Johns fan to be like, whoa, they've done something amazing. And I completely hated the Grant Morrison run of the Green Lantern series. What was it, season 1 and season 2? I didn't like it at all. And I'm a Grant Morrison fan, so I don't know. This is amazing. They've set the stage for something brilliant. It's difficult to discuss without spoiling it. We saw a Guardian get killed last issue. It had something to do with magic terrorists. And they're going to flesh out what that means. But what I'm going to tell you is that this issue in particular is going to forever change Green Lantern mythos completely. Something cataclysmic happens here. And it leaves only a couple of lanterns left standing. And to be honest with you, if you've been paying attention to the new Green Lantern lore, you're going to know who one of them is. And she's been one of my favorites. So absolutely, without a doubt, do not skip this. It is friggin' amazing. I'm excited about this. And as a Jeff Johns fan, it's been a long time since I've been able to say, like, I'm super excited about some Lantern Corps stuff. This is it. The mythos is changing, and they're doing something really wild with it. So don't skip it. DC pick of the week, hands down, Green Lantern. Do not skip it. Next is Batman 108, Tinian, Jimenez, Ortiz, Mori, and Ferraro Jr. If you are looking for copies of this, you will not find the A cover on our shelves because too many people keep ordering past FOC. Please help your local comic shop provide books it needs for people, and try to order before FOC if you are a sub. That's my PSA of the week. We have walk-ins that also want these books that don't like the sub. I don't know why, but we got to provide them some too, and that really helps us if you get it in before FOC. But okay, let's discuss what's in this. This variant is amazing. Why? It's got a new character named Miracle Molly, and Matches Malone's got to go undercover. Matches Malone's got to go undercover. If you know who that is, it's Batman in disguise in the criminal underworld. And
second or third time in the past couple months.
Yeah, he's got to get to the bottom of who the Unsanity Division is. I believe that's what they're called. The head of them is Miracle Molly. And I got to tell you, I really like this character. I mean, well, okay, she looks like a 90s raver, and I totally identify with that. But there's a lot more to this character. There's some depth there. And there's a little bit of anger at the digital age and the rich fat cats that control it. And I can't blame her. I found a lot of redeeming stuff from her dialogue in this. So still, it's not my pick of the week, but don't skip it. You're also going to get Ghostmaker versus, well, I think it's another first appearance in a character called Kid Kawaii. I hate that name. I can't stand that name, without a doubt. Can't stand it. Is the character cool? Not really. It's an okay character. What I will say about that storyline is it fleshes out a bit more about the Ghostmaker, and I'm starting to like him as a character, even though, again, his name is just as cringe as Kid Kawaii, in my opinion. I hate that name. But Miracle Molly actually is pretty cool. Oh my God, her name is Miracle Molly, and she looks like a 90s raver. Anyways, I like that character. It's not my DC pick of the week. I know a lot of people probably thought it would be because it's got 2 first appearances. Was Molly's first appearance last issue or this issue? I think it was last issue. Yeah, I know a lot of people are buying it because of this new character, and for good reason. I like her as a character. Just not my pick of the week. It's definitely Green Lantern. Next is Doran, Wong, Carlini, Barron, and Angiolini. This is the Sensational Wonder Woman. This is a weird book. The art is very old-timey, I guess you could say. It feels like it's returning to Wonder Woman roots at times. That's not to say I hate it. I actually loved it. But it centers around Wonder Woman and social media and potentially another new villain. Although, hasn't she gone up against a social media villain before? What was her name? Do you remember?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Is it Mindy Meyer? I don't know. I don't know if this is a new character or not. Mindy Meyer is very obnoxious, but the character is supposed to be that way. It feels like the cell phone executive from The Simpsons, the lady that roams in and hands out business cards and talks fast. That's what she feels like. And Wonder Woman's sort of caught in the crossfire. Is it fun? Yeah, it's a good time. It was a really, really good Wonder Woman book. Plenty of action. It was just kind of a weird premise. That's all I'm going to say. Next is Thompson, Pansica, Ferrier, and Maolo. And this is Suicide Squad. Now, we got a couple things to unpack here. Talon is now on the team. The problem is they've got to keep him from killing other team members till they get him under control. Meanwhile, Peacemaker is a jerk. We all know he's a jerk. Big shocker. But Connor Kent, of all people, he winds up butting heads at one point with Connor Kent. And Connor Kent says the most paratrooper thing I've seen in a long time in comics. And I loved it. I actually stopped and showed it to Yogi. I loved it. There's a reason why I love Connor Kent. He he doesn't pull punches in the verbal sense at times, and it was a really, really good showing. We are actually finding out too that there might be something wrong with Connor Kent, and we're not entirely sure. But is it fun? Yeah, it's great. It's honestly, I hate to say it, I'm excited about a Suicide Squad book, and it's been a long. It's been never. It's been never. I generally don't like Suicide Squad books. The only thing I like about Suicide Squad books is Amanda Waller, and generally I like Amanda Waller outside of Suicide Squad because Suicide Squad, she's just hurting kittens usually, and yeah, she's pretty brutal about it. But Amanda Waller, when like other heroes have to deal with her, she's monstrous. Anyways, next is V, Perkins, and Spicer, and we're talking about the Swamp Thing. And oh man, I am so excited with how they're changing his lore, and it's hard to discuss without talking about it. This is usually when Swamp Thing gets made, a human has to die, and then the avatar of the Green takes on the form of Swamp Thing, and usually takes on the memory of the living person, but isn't actually the living person. The Swamp Thing we all know as Alec Holland isn't technically Alec Holland. He's just got Alec Holland's memories. And the same thing was for the Swamp Thing before that. This is something different, and they haven't fully explained. But this Swamp Thing might actually be living, and there might be more than one of them soon. Yeah, something very strange happens in this book. So that's all I'm going to say. There is a new Green character too in the form of Ivy, which is also why there might be more of them. Not Poison Ivy. She reminds everyone she's not poison. Yeah. There is a lot going on here. So Swamp Thing, it's pretty much a must buy. It's not my pick of the week, but as a Swamp Thing fan, I was this close to picking it. It's definitely a must buy this week. Next is V, Schwab's Extraordinary. This is I'm trying to just trying to remember. I can't talk about a number one without really spoiling it. This centers around a character who she's had a near-death experience. And after that near-death experience, she's starting to see after images of, well, they call them after images, but what the reality is she's seeing how people are going to die. That's brutal. We've kind of seen that before, and I think other forms of media. But I want to know where they're going. I was intrigued by it. The art's pretty good. The story's pretty good. I'd say if you need an indie book this week, you probably couldn't go wrong with this. Is it my indie pick of the week? No, but it is pretty good. Next is Gillen, Hands, and Cowles. I didn't know that Dennis Cowles worked on this book. I might have been reading it more. That is Die. Now, Die is essentially, it's Jumanji crossed with D&D. This is a bunch of people who found out that they could go into a D&D campaign and actually live there, and the implications that came with it, and the fact that they knew it was like a stats-based campaign. And sometimes people would exploit that system, and sometimes the actual dice lore and stats lore would actually haunt the people living in the campaign. And this is the continuing story. I haven't read this in a bit, but there's no good reason as to why I haven't read or review it in a bit. It's a great comic. The storyline's fun. Every time I pick it up, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I should be reading more of this. The art is really good, and I mean really good. Granted, I'm a big Dennis Cowles fan, so you could probably take it with a grain of salt, but you can't tell me by looking at the cover or by looking at some of these pages that it's just not an amazing piece of art. It really, really is. Don't skip it. Again, not my indie pick of the week, but damn close. Let me decide what my indie pick of the week is. Real fast. Sorry, guys. Give me one. Oh, well, yeah. Okay. Next is Beasts of Burden. This is Evan Dorkin, Sarah Dyer, Benjamin Dewey with Nate Picos. Occupied Territory. Now, I told you guys last time, this was, well, what if the detective was not actually the smartest person in the room, and he was actually just talking to animals, and the dogs were figuring out the crime. That's what the last issue is. This issue is, well, what if those dogs went to feudal Japan and encountered demons from feudal Japan and then had magic powers shooting fireballs? I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. This story is so wacky and all over the place, and they've stuck so many things into it that I want to say it's good. They're trying something that's sort of new, but really they're just meshing a bunch of things together. I want to say it's good. I'm not having a good time with it. There's too many moving parts, and it's a weird story. I don't know. If you liked the old Benji the Hunted storylines, or what was that one that had Michael J. Fox that they were traveling across the country? Far From Home or something?
Far From Home? I don't think it was J. Fox. That was definitely one.
That was definitely one. Okay.
Yeah.
Milo and Otis, but then you gave the dogs superpowers and threw in some demons from feudal Japan. It's weird. I can't recommend it. I'm sorry. I tried, guys. I tried. I really tried to say something redeeming. That book's not my jam. Next is Cullen Bunn, Dalibor Talayek, Valentina Brisky, and Marshall Dillon. I apologize for murdering all your names. This is Eden. Now, Eden is a weird story. I'm going to tell you, I can't talk about this without giving some of the synopsis away. I'm going to give a little bit of it. It centers around a tattoo parlor and one of the tattooists in there that he's suffering because his wife and kid died, and he just can't get them out of his head. And then along comes this woman who gets tattoos and then leaves, and the work disappears from her skin, and then she returns and asks for another tattoo. And it goes from there. Now, it's Cullen Bunn, so pretty much it's going to be a dark paranormal story. You already know it. And you're not going to see it coming. Where it goes is pretty wild and weird because it's Cullen Bunn. But is it good? Actually, yeah, it was really good. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a one-shot. It wraps it up nicely. Is it a horror book? Sort of. It's sort of a horror book. I think if you're a horror fan and you're looking for a good book this week, this will not disappoint you. But if you're looking for a book that's going to scare the crap out of you, it's not really. It feels a little more psychological at times. It's still good. It's still good. I had a good time with it. So I would say don't skip it. Hi, Venom. Arizona Venom. Next is Tamaki and Guru Hiru, and we're talking about Thor and Loki. Double Trouble. Now, you can tell from the cover where Thor is gonna meet Jane Foster's version of Thor, and there's probably something else at play. Really, it's a good story, but I mean, let's be honest, this is Saturday morning Thor and Loki. Like, that's what it is. You're getting a Saturday morning cartoon and a comic. Is it fun? Yeah, it's fun. I had a good time with it. Would I recommend it to every adult I know? Probably not. Some of you really like that dark stuff. This is very whimsical and fun Saturday morning-ish, but it's good. We'll have it here. Garth Ennis worked on this. Now a lot of this makes sense. Garth Ennis, Goran Sudegu, and Miroslav Merva. We're talking about Majorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal. Now, I gotta tell you, I'm a big Garth Ennis fan, but this is definitely edgy. It's weird, and we've sort of seen this before. Now, I'm gonna tell you that it's time travel, and we've seen Time Heist before, and there's a Doctor Who reference. But more importantly, this feels like, what if you took Time Bandits and you threw in this gal in a bikini, and what happened there? Now, it's good. I wasn't bored. It's nothing we haven't seen before. And frankly, I don't know about you guys if you've ever seen Time Bandits, but when I was a kid, Time Bandits was the most surreal movie I've ever seen. I mean, at one point, there is little people swinging from cages over a giant endless pit, and it was just the coolest movie I'd seen. It was so surreal and weird, but I loved it. I loved everything about it. Plus they put little people as the main characters, and they were brutal, and it was awesome. Again, if you like Time Bandits, you might find a home with this, but I don't know. It's a weird book. It's very strange. So this is a maybe for me. I'd say give it an issue. Next is American Chavez, Made in the USA. I love this. We are finally getting that standalone American Chavez book that we wanted for some time, and it's her origin story, and it's really twisted. I mean, really twisted. It is going in a dark direction that I did not expect, and I want to know how it's playing out. Granted, there's not enough action in this quite yet. The first issue had lots of action. This one didn't have enough fights for my taste, but it is setting something up, and I want to know where it's going. I want to know why this origin story got really wild and wicked all of a sudden. So, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a must-read this week, so we will have it here. Next is Older, Talibao, and Nalti, and this is Star Wars High Republic Adventures. Now, this is centering around the young kids and the younger Jedi Knight, but the young kids that they recently saved and the implications of it. But more importantly, do you want to see Yoda in a Jedi starfighter calling in on Wing Command? Yes, that's what you get in this issue. Is it a good issue? Yeah. Is there enough action? There's a bit of fight scene, I guess, but there's not enough Jedi action. That's really what I want when I read these things. I still had a good time. I think it's worth the price of admission. It's not the best of the High Republic issues. That's it. Full stop. Wells, Segovia, Curiel, Hellions, and I hate it. God, I hate it. Look, I really, really love the art. The art is otherworldly. This is kind of the wrap-up of dealing with, what's this guy's name again, Cam? The Mind Screw puppet guy. I can't remember. This art is the same as the last... What was Psylocke in at the beginning of House of, at the end of House of X, Powers of X? What was the name of that group that she ran? You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
One of them was like
Short-lived, right? The art is
I know what you're talking about.
the same. Like, I think the art is the same. The art is really, really good. The Hellions team sucks. When even Cam turns around and says, like, man, Hellions team's kind of meh. It's kind of meh.
Fallen Angels.
Fallen Angels, that's what it was. I think it's the same artist. I really like this artist. I wish he'd get a stronger story behind it. Now, I didn't hate it. I'm kind of tired of it. There is one implication that sort of got revealed that I pointed out to Cam that is something that's going back to X of Swords, 10 of Swords, excuse me. Okay. So that was kind of cool, but I don't like this team. And I felt like this arc in particular was wrapped up 2 issues ago, and somehow it's still going. Skip it. I mean, if you need another X book in your life this week, pick up Marauders. If you need 2 or 3, if you get that far down the list and you just desperately need another one, get Hellions. But it sucks, guys. I'm sorry. Next is Scott Snyder, Tony S. Daniel, Tomia Mori, and we're talking about... Yeah, I'm going to pick this as my pick of the week. Nocterra. Now, Nocterra is a pretty wild ride. It's pretty much the world is divided into little enclave cities, and they've got lights on all the time and glow sticks everywhere and glowing things everywhere. Why? Because darkness has surrounded the world, and in the darkness are these evil, sinister creatures. Now, they tend to be just murderous, dark, sinister things, but we find one that is tracking the transport that is going between enclaves, driving through the night. And this one is headed by a mythical guy of the name, I think his name is Blacktop Bill. And Blacktop Bill he's not only part of the shades, the darkness, the evil creatures, but he's pretty damn sentient and drives a really nice fast car. And is just wicked all around. So I'm intrigued. God, they've set the stage for a really sinister villain that is very, very fun, and I can't wait to see where this is going. So, Nocterra, Scott Snyder, I love your writing, but my God, does it remind me of my story, and I'm hooked. Indie pick of the week, Nocterra, issue number 3. Don't skip it. by any means. It's outstanding. Next is Spencer Vincentini, Sabatini, Sinclair, The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, I'm still liking the fact that we've got the whole cross lovers between
Widow? Not Widow.
no. It's Robbie Robertson's kid and then Tombstone's kid, and they're in love. And they've been kidnapped by Madame Mask, and Spider-Man's got to get there in time. Meanwhile, they're basically the plan is to, I think, kill Robbie Robertson, who's currently in control of the Daily Bugle, and then also Tombstone. It's a wild ride. Meanwhile, Spencer, what the are you doing? We're getting more of that Sin Eater garbage with Centipede. What's Centipede Man's name again? Who cares? It's Harry Osborn dead and Norman Osborn hanging out with his dead creepy centipede. So I don't care. Nick Spencer, stop it. Get away from that crap. Every time you bring those characters back in, I get a nasty taste in my mouth, and I just don't care. You're doing new stuff, and the new stuff's working. Let it go, man. Anyways, it'll be here. 9/10 of it is a really, really good comic. That 1/10. If you didn't like Sin Eater like I did, you won't like it. Next is a book that sucks. Grist, DeVito, Underwood, and Woodward, The Union for King and Country. I don't. Britain's super team. I don't know, man. I don't know. There was on Reddit this weekend. Some British person got really angry because of crab cakes. Did I tell you this?
No.
All of Reddit was like passing around this raging screenshot where this British person was like, "I'm so sick and tired of you Americans. Like, what the Christ is crab cakes? And why do you call something cake when it's not sweet and this and that?" And to that, I have to reply, what the hell is blood pudding? And what is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Fucking
Klingons?
What is going on with Great Britain? You're going to criticize us for crab cakes, which are a national treasure?
And shepherd's pie. There's no
What is shepherd? Yeah, there's no shepherds in there. Anyways, okay, let's discuss this book. The art is good. The story is, well, I mean, it's not a bad book. There's plenty of action. I just don't know these characters that well, and I don't care for them. I don't know. Can you say something nice about the Union, Cam? They look cool. I don't know. I feel like since they're the British team, there should be like an extra vowel on the end of the Union, like an E. Or like, okay, enough punching down on this. It's a D-list team, and I don't care for them, and I'm not sure why any of you would care for them. But if you want to read the Union, I don't even know like any British people who would like the Union. It feels very tropey at times. I mean, Union Jack and the Bulldog and whatever. But if you want this team, we will have it on our shelves. Next is Trujillo, Fleeks, Williams, Ito, and Crank. And God help me, I'm going to say it. Aside from Rick and Morty, Dungeons and Dragons, most of the Rick and Morty comics are not that great. They haven't been that great. They haven't felt like the show. However, Rick and Morty Worlds Apart, centering around the Slut Dragons and Morty's other grandpa, has been a really, really fun ride. And this is the wrap-up. And there's some multiverse stuff involving a bear version of Rick. And I am having the best time. This feels like the show. So Rick and Morty Worlds Apart has broken the Rick and Morty comic curse. And this one is actually pretty fun. And it's not the Rick and Morty D&Ds, which are all the only other fun ones of these. But it's amazing. So let's keep this magic going, guys, and throw it into Rick and Morty mainline, okay? We'll have that. It'll be on our shelves. Come get it. Next is Steve Orlando and David Tinto, and this is a book that I have not reviewed enough of. Commanders in Crisis, Now this is, what if all the presidents of different corners of the multiverse were all superheroes and most of their universes got blown up and they wound up in one universe trying to save it. Is it good? Yeah, it's awesome. This is a wild ride, and every issue just seems to get better and better. And this one centers around a god called Civilization that actually showed up when mankind was pretty much Neanderthals. It's awesome. Not Neanderthals, Cro-Magnon. Sorry. It's awesome. Like, everything about this book is awesome. And I gotta tell you, like, the action scenes in these issues are just outstanding. Like, they are pages and pages of punches and kicks, and there's a lot of chaos, but it's never confusing. It's just a really fun ride. Cam, you got anything good to say about this book too?
It's different. It's interesting.
Different, interesting. It's not a story we know, right? It's not.
I've been reading since like issue 1, and I've not had a dull moment.
Haven't. And what's weird is, like, I read other books and I'm like, oh, I can tell what this is inspired by, or I can tell like what brought this on. I'm not sure. Like, sometimes I can get the characters that they're sort of referencing, but like, I'm not sure where they pulled this story from. It feels like a fever dream, a really fun fever dream. Commanders in Crisis, come read it. It's outstanding. It'll be on our shelves. Next is the Orville Digressions, and this is part 1 of 2. David A. Goodman, David Cabiza, and Michael Etienne. And this is, the Orville is getting into multiverse territory, and some of the stories are changing. Now, if I knew all the episodes of the Orville, I'm sure this would make a lot more sense. I do not. I watched only a few episodes. I liked it. I just don't know why I didn't continue with it. But this centers around a pivot point and how some characters didn't actually make it onto the Orville and the changes that happened because of it. Yeah, that's in this book. It's really good. Like, I'm having a good time with it. It's a fun read. And you know, I don't have enough Orville in my life, so if you need that story to continue, this is it. Next is I'm going to pronounce these names wrong. I just know it. Bishechot, Tefengiki, Tefengi, Lowridge, and Powell. And this is The Good Asian by Image. And this is, oh, wow. Edison Hark immediately joins the ranks of Philip Marlowe and Sam Spade in a smart, classic noir drenched in style and history. That's what the back of the book says. Do I agree with that statement? Yes. As somebody who loves film noir and loves, you know, Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart, like all those kind of flicks, I will say that this felt like that. It takes place in you know, San Francisco way back when, and it deals with a lot of racism and Asian hate, which is something that is really applicable to our time now. And the main character is a detective, one of the first Asian American detectives, and he seems really good at his job. And I mean, like, Sherlock Holmes level good. And it's really cool on the stuff he picks up and how they break it down. The art is good, and the art breaks that down really clearly as well. I had a good time with that. The story is, well, there's a little bit of a mystery, but it's sort of already solved, and it feels like the main character is doing damage control, which is cool. I just was hoping for a bit more mystery in the overarching arc established in the first issue. There's yet to be there's sort of a ticking clock, sort of. We're going to have to wait and see how that turns out. Is it a good story? Yes, it's amazing. Honestly, it's a must read this week. It's what did I pick as my indie pick of the week? I forget. Noctera. Okay, I'm going to tell you there's going to be 2 indie picks of the week because this is my other indie pick of the week. I can't really decide which book is stronger, but like they're both amazing books. But don't skip it. Whatever you do, don't skip this. The Good Asian is outstanding. Although I'm worried that name Good Asian is some sort of racist implication established.
I think it's a reference to like the second generation of Asian.
It is, and they established some of that. But at any rate, this book is amazing. Don't skip it. Absolutely don't skip it. Plus, it really does apply to our times, and actually, it applies to the city too, our city, because SF has had some serious Asian hate going on lately. And props to, I gotta give miles of props for a minute to the Asian woman who somebody had already gotten beat, and she turned around and beat her attacker with a stick, which I thought was amazing. And then they started a GoFundMe for her and raised like almost $1 million, and she donated it all to her community.
Yep.
That woman is amazing. She is the most epic woman in SF's history. Right? Give her Edward Norton, or what was it? Edward Norton, the Emperor of San Francisco.
Oh yes.
Give his title needs to go to her for being she needs to be the Empress of San Francisco after that. Let's just do it. Let me get a drink. I'm all wound up today. Did I say Edward Norton? That's an actor. Emperor Norton. Emperor Norton. That's what I meant to say. We did talk about it. Next, give Edward Norton's title. Death to Smoochie. Okay, let's go on. Next is Dugan, Caselli, and Delgado. The amazing, the magnificent. I can't say enough good things about this. The Marauders. Now, we've kind of got the space between events. We've wrapped up what happened recently, and we've got a bunch of folks, a bunch of the mutants on a boat, Kate Pride's boat. Don't say Kitty. Kate Pride's boat. And they're all discussing the Hellfire Gala, but more importantly, they're discussing how ridiculously badass Storm is. And everybody's got a story about her, but in very pirate fashion. They're all sort of betting how many knives she has on her at the same time. And it's just an amazing comic. Yeah, okay, it's the space between events. Usually that's time for filler, but not Jerry Duggan says no. He says, I'm still going to write you a story that's really intriguing and entertaining, even if it's the space between events. That's what you get. This is priming us up for the Hellfire Gala and setting some implications. And we know that he's going to be taking over the X-Men title, and for good reason. Dugan is amazing. He doesn't write a bad book. And I have to show you that they sent Green Machine Comics a personal invite to the Hellfire Gala on the evening of the summer solstice, and it literally has a cocktail hour when gates are open, and so on and so forth. And they sent this, show off your invitation online with the X-Men.
Now we
can do this.
This is the proof. This is the proof Steve is actually muted.
It's true. I've never been so happy. This is amazing. I love when they do stuff like this. Comic shops really appreciate it. So we need to do something on social media because there's a hashtag we gotta show with this invite. And if any of our regulars want to show this off and do something crazy with it online, feel free to. We will let you have our invitation. Borrow our invitation.
Yeah.
Give it back because I need to go. Next is Seeley, Howard and Howard, Prominent, Gooden, Duke, and World. And this is Vampire the Masquerade. I love this indie so much. It's so good. This is literally one of my favorite comics. I do like Vampire the Masquerade. I do really love this art. But the story is so twisted. Now, we had the main character was an enforcer for the prince. The prince got betrayed and killed. Meanwhile, other vampires were dying to the Second Inquisition, which is vampire hunters. And then on top of that, the main character had adopted what she thought was a thin blood, a caitiff, somebody who had different abilities but wasn't an established clan. And it turns out she might have been betrayed this whole time. She might have been played this whole time. God, this is a good read. And they're going to finally get to the bottom of that mystery in this issue. If you've been skipping this, you're missing out on so much. If you even slightly like vampires, you will love this. If you like Vampire the Masquerade, you played that like growing up, you will love this. If you like vampire movies, you will love this. If you like horror, you will love this. It's amazing. So don't skip it. We will have it on our shelves. We've got a few back issues. Trust me, you need to be reading this. It's outstanding. And I don't know, I'm hooked on that art. Like that art is, if you got to tell a vampire story, do that level of grit every single time. It's perfect.
Oh, I have your plus one, right, for the gala?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
What's your powers though?
The power to be constantly tired and have an achy back.
that is definitely your superpower. Back pain.
Call me back pain.
My superpower is always having ibuprofen on hand. Next is Scotty Young, Humberto Ramos, Edgar Delgado. This is Strange Academy, the field trip. Now, I really love this series and I really love this art, and I'm never bored with it. Now, where you get it, they're gonna flesh out more of their story, but you can see there's Asgard with Galactus's helmet. Poor old dead Galactus. Right, sitting right there. Meanwhile, they're going on a field trip to Asgard, but when you take a bunch of magic users and you throw them in another realm they're not used to, and they're all teenagers, what do you think is going to happen? Probably problems. It's awesome. As they flesh out these characters more, every one of these characters, I wind up going like, I hate this character. And then like 2 pages later, I'm like, oh, I love this character. Like there's some more depth here. Like Scotty Young has won me over. And it's just such a fun read. This is how I wanted another DC title that we bring up occasionally. I wanted it to be like that. It had a lot of characters, but they weren't fighting for my attention. They're all fighting for my attention, and I'm never quite sure who the main character is, which is how these kind of stories should be. That's how Titans Academy is right now. I love that one too. Chris Robertson, Tony Parker, and Dave Raposa. Okay. God of War. Now, I love video games. I love video games. I love them. Video games, video game franchise comics suck. They always suck. There's like one or two that me and Cam have discussed that defied it. Obviously, Injustice. No. The new one's okay. The new Cyberpunk's okay. The last one that's centered around paramedics, who cares? Mortal Kombat X.
Yes.
Yeah, we've confirmed. There's at least 2 that we like, maybe 3. This one does not break that curse. Look, okay, God of War. What's he do? He kills big monsters and kills other gods, and occasionally like just randomly murks humans and screws them. That's God of War. What do you get in this? Well, you get him running around and fighting a giant hippo. Whatever. It'll be on our shelves if you're a huge God of War fan, but don't expect there to be any depth in that book. Nothing hooked me, and it's exactly what I said. It's hard to talk about that without spoiling it, but that is entirely what's happening here. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to do the next book, which honestly is pretty close to another pick of the week, but it's Marvel. There's so many books right now that could be Marvel picks of the week. I'm going to run them all, but they're all really amazing. And please, if you are even the slightest Marvel fan, don't skip any of these books that I'm about to discuss. Star Wars Bounty Hunters. This book is outstanding. It's the space between Empire and Jedi. It centers around Boba Fett transporting Han Solo's carbonite form and trying to keep him alive while he's in stasis. And what implications happen? What I will say is that Fett's mind is really screwed up, and we all sort of know it because we know his history and how messed up of a childhood he had. Yeah, some of that's going to come into play. Do we get an awesome book of Boba Fett fighting and just murking a bunch of people in really brutal ways? Yes, and it's more messed up in how he kills them all because he's clearly haunted by a certain childhood event. Anyways, it's awesome. The art's amazing. The storyline's amazing. This is what the Bounty Hunters book on our shelves should have been. It's outstanding. Come get it. It's amazing. Don't skip it this week. All right, we're going to go down these list of Marvel books before I stop. All of them. We'll do some indies at the end. I'm gonna throw these indies at the end. But we're gonna go down to all these Marvel books because all of these are awesome. Orlando, Ricardo, and Guru Effects. X-Men Curse of the Man Thing. This picks up after, I believe, Amazing Spider-Man Curse of the Man Thing, and then the regular Curse of the Man Thing. This centers around Man Thing's sort of curse and his debt to a demon in hell, a demon lord in hell, and that has been transferred over to Magic of the X-Men. And Magic is a really twisted and messed up character, which if you know Magic, you know how she is. But this in particular, she's got the hots for a certain Flaming Skull character, which gets mentioned in this. And she's even like, yeah, but you'd have to keep the skull up. Like it's twisted. But they're fleshing out more of the Man-Thing lore, and it's actually awesome. And I'm saying that as a Swamp Thing fan who has always seen Man-Thing as a discount Swamp Thing that I didn't care about. I honestly care about this character. It went in a really wild and weird direction, and I had a good time with it. So don't skip it. It was an amazing book. I set it down and was just like, wow, I had a great time with that. It's outstanding. Next is a book that it's not as strong. I'm sorry. I know I said all these books were going to be amazing. This one's kind of, it's so-so. Carnage, Black, White, and Blood. Look, okay, it's several Carnage stories, just like the first one. They have ties to Carnage's history, to include the cult that was involved. The art is really, really good. It's black and white and red. I know that old joke. I'm sorry. But it's Carnage colors. The art's good. The stories they're sort of throwaway stories. One or two might have grander implications, but the rest are just like, oh, okay. It's Carnage and like this historical event sort of. It's okay. It's okay. It's just not the best. I think the yardstick that we measure all the symbiote books against is now King in Black. Yeah. And not much is going to compare. It's okay. Or Venom, yeah. Or just Man Life. It's okay. Next is a book you shouldn't skip. It's amazing. But I say it every time it comes out. Let's be honest. Ewing, Bennett, Jose, Bravo, and Mounts. Oh my God. Immortal Hulk. I can finally talk about it. So the last issue, we saw a lot. We saw, Savage Hulk and Joe Fixit, who are separated from Bruce, were in hell again, and we know that they can go through other doors, but the green doors have been closed off by the leader. So what happens then? How do you get through that? Well, we knew there was a red door, and it had a different implication that was never fully explained. But I'm going to tell you flat out, last issue we saw Joe Fixit in a red Hulk look in hell, and even Savage Hulk looked at him and was like, Red Hulk? And meanwhile, Hulk was his body, he was already dead, and he was being bombarded with cosmic radiation by that other super team. I can't remember what their name. They're big bads. They pretty much murked him an issue before. So how are they going to get back through the door, and how are they going to survive that? Well, Joe Fixit went through, I believe, was Savage Hulk, and came through as a Hulk with red veins and powered up with a little grayish tint to him. But I after reading this book, I'm going to tell you, I think that Joe Fixit and Savage Hulk combined. I think what we're looking at is a character that might have a new name. We should call him Joe Savage. I'm just going to say it. It sounds awesome. It sounds like a cool name. Let's just call him Joe. But anyways, it's a different Hulk than we know, and with a different power set, but very much Joe Fixit. I'm going to tell you, the way he picks apart that team that put him down the last time is the most Joe Fixit. It's what I wanted as a Joe Fixit fan from the second he reappeared in Immortal Hulk. It's exactly what I wanted. It was amazing. Don't skip this issue. Outstanding. 100% across the board. Is it my Marvel pick of the week? No, because the next book came out, but it's really close. Let's talk about this next book. Jason Aaron, Ed McGuinness, Mark Morales, Matthew Wilson. Look, this is a Lamborghini in comic book form. This is Heroes Reborn, and it is amazing for a lot of reasons. Now, I can't talk about a first issue without talking about a little bit of spoilers, so here goes. pretty much the premise is all of the Avengers never became the Avengers, and somehow Squadron Supreme is now the head super team, and at the president of the United States is also Coulson. They're all bad guys right now, pretty much. I mean, they're anti-heroes, kind of crappy heroes. Now suddenly they're center stage. The Avengers don't know who they are except one, Blade. And if you're gonna pick one Avenger who is cutthroat and who can do exactly what needs to be done to bring the team back together when the team doesn't even know who they are, it's Blade. And I'm gonna tell you flat out, this book, it invoked a lot of emotion in me. When I was reading it, like I already don't like Squadron Supreme. I generally don't like Hyperion because you never really know which Hyperion you're dealing with, which sucks. I don't like most of those members, and the fact that they're Discount Justice League on purpose always bothered me. This book made me hate them like 10 times more for a lot of reasons. And I can't talk about it because some of it is spoilers, but it really got a lot, like it hit a raw nerve, and I can already feel by the end of this issue that the comeback is going to feel so good. And really, Blade being at the helm is amazing. So Heroes Reborn, do not skip it. My pick of the week, honestly, might be my pick of the year. Didn't really see it coming, but oh man, I saw it coming. It was like, oh, Jason Aaron's at the helm. It's probably going to be pretty good. It's amazing. It's amazing. Is it King in Black good? I can't say yet because I haven't gotten a few issues in, but it feels like it's King in Black good. And let's be honest, Jason Aaron, he does really great events too. Like War of the Realms was no joke. Jason Aaron's an amazing writer. This is outstanding. Pick of the week for Marvel. Do not skip it. If you're a comic fan, don't skip it. Even if you're a DC fan, I would say jump worlds this one time. If you're primarily DC, read a really, really good Marvel book and enjoy it too. It's outstanding. Top shelf stuff. Next is another book that I honestly really, really love. Hama Wachter Manon, Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon. Now, this centers around, well, somebody is going through and they're stealing hearts from dragons, and they're doing it to power up and destroy the Tears of Heaven that are tied to the Iron Fist mythos. And last issue, we saw Okoye with a spider dragon heart, which is pretty badass. But I love this book. And keep in mind, I'm saying that as somebody who usually is not too into Iron Fist. I just like his look usually, but all the characters around him in this book are so much fun. They're amazing. The little guy, Fu, I think his name is, he's just a little tiny guy with a big shotgun, and I love him. All the other characters, like it's just like a gang that is like, yo, Iron Fist says go this way, we're going that way, and we're gonna beat the crap out of every undead horde we meet. And Luke Cage is in it, and anything with Luke Cage in it, I tend to love. I'm having the best time with this book. So if you're on the fence about Iron Fist stuff, this is the book to jump in on because it won me over. I'm still not the biggest Iron Fist fan, but I had a really good time with this book. It's not finished yet. It's still rolling forward, but I'm having a great time. Don't skip it. This is Vault Comics, and this is Aller Tucker, Hollow Heart. Now, I've said I really like the art and the story. It's a weird story. If I had to describe this, I would say this story is it's space Frankenstein in love, kind of. That's pretty much what it is. Is it good? Yeah, it's a good sci-fi story. It's a weird thing. It's another one of those books where it kind of feels like it came out of a fever dream, but somehow it works. So I've been having a good time with it. I would say if you need a little more sci-fi in your life and that synopsis sounds good, you should come pick it up. The art is really cool. I don't know what that style is, but I really like that style. Vault has been knocking it out of the park. Next is another company that's been knocking it out of the park. Victor Lavelle, Jomi Yangyong, Jae-young, Brittany Peer. Now that I've killed your last names, and I apologize to the creators. This is Eve. Now, Eve is an apocalyptic story, but brace yourself, okay? There's a little bit of mystery. A little girl is sort of viewing the world from a bunker with her dad, and the world seems like it's in an okay space. And then she goes to sleep and wakes up, and her dad's not there. The world is an apocalypse, and there is a cyborg Teddy Ruxpin, sort of. It's okay. Look, it's a teddy bear that is a cyborg that is sort of her guardian, and she's kind of got to survive. But let's be honest, it's Teddy Ruxpin. I'm sorry, it's Teddy Ruxpin. It's come to life to help this little girl. It reminded me of my childhood, and I had a really good time with it. Granted, my childhood wasn't apocalyptic, but it's a good book. The art is really, really good. The storyline's intriguing, and there's a bit of a mystery, both what happened to the world and what happened to her dad. And I want to know more, so I'm hooked. I'm going to say that Eve is a pick it up, read it, decide if you want to continue on, and subscribe. I would say you absolutely have to buy it if you are an indie comics fan, and then decide if you want to sub to it. It feels like a sub out the box for me. And let me show an image. I'm sorry I haven't been showing you guys enough books over there. It's just it's out of the way. Next is Emma Kubert, Rusty Glad, and we're talking about Inkblot. Now, Inkblot is, well, it's a magic story, except this little cat keeps jumping realms, and the cat has some insane magical powers, and there's a bunch of wizards and witches fighting, and that's pretty much Inkblot. Is it good? Yeah, it's fun. The art is really good. You can tell that the main writer really loves fantasy, and also like sort of crossing over like themes into that fantasy. I've not been bored in every issue I picked up an Inkblot, although I will confess I haven't read it in a couple issues and I wasn't entirely sure what was going on. So maybe don't jump in on this book, but if you've been holding out, God, is this a fun read? And the cat is just so damn cute. As a cat lover, I'm liking that book. Granted, I'm a dog lover too. I like most animals, most of them, except seagulls. I hate seagulls. Anyways, next is the last book on our week, which is a good thing because my voice is going, but I'm probably going to talk the most about this book because it's kind of important. This is Hey Kids Comics, Howard Chaykin, Volume 2, Profits and Loss. Now, I have a sneaky suspicion that Hey Kids Comics has been a type of comic long ago that is sort of dusted off, but this is ultimately telling the story of the comic industry. Granted, they've changed some of the names, but I can tell you exactly who Jack Kirby is in this story, I believe. But this is telling the comics story and certain senators' problematic foray into comics and what it entailed, how the comics code of authority came to be, and why it is the darkest moment in comic history, at least one of them. And it even shows the stamp, which I can't stand. And for some reason, Diamond used that to represent their comeback being bigger than their setback, that same symbol. What? Anyways, so this represents the comics code of authority and the history of comics, and it's a really, really fun read. The art is amazing. The story is amazing. I'm relatively sure these are all based on real people, but not actually them. I think they've changed the names for good reason. I mean, talking about Jack Kirby in an Image comic book. Is it Image? Yeah, in an Image comic book might have some issues. But is it a good read? Yeah, it's great. I had a great time with it. I loved it as a comics fan and as somebody who absolutely hated that time in history. It's fun to see. And if you don't know how that turned out, let me tell you. Let me give you a little history lesson. So what happened was it the 70s or the early? It was the when did the Comics Code of Authority thing start?
Oh, I want to say it was the
60s.
60s. Yeah, it's
okay.
all the horror stuff.
So there was a lot of really good horror comics and a lot of other comics, and I guess people were getting wild with it. But it wasn't the main comics companies that were getting wild with it. It was a lot of the smaller companies that were doing weird stuff with it. So senators took aim at it, and the way they saw it was they saw that all comics were problematic and maybe pornographic and violent, and they were influencing our youth in terrible ways. Every horrible thing you can name about it, that's what happened.
Wait, are we talking about the comics or the senators?
Yeah, pretty much that. But what happened then? Well, comics started getting censored, like heavily censored. And then on top of that, they had to put these stamps on the cover saying certified by the Comics Code of Authority. And how did this story end? Well, they tried to track down the Comics Code of Authority a few years back, and they found that they were just a phone line in a broom closet, dead, unmanned, non-existent. And that, I don't know. I mean, I want to say there's a good lesson there, but really, like, I'm sure some senators use that as a political stepping stone and probably never got any justice for it, really. And, you know, American pop culture suffered because of it. But the end of it being in a broom closet somewhere and just being like something nobody cared about does feel pretty good. I would hope that those senators got the same fate, but I haven't looked them up to know or care. Anyways, so a little bit of history, and you get a lot of that in this book, and it's something you should read. Honestly, you should pick it up. It's not my indie pick of the week, but I had a great time with it. Is there a lot of action in this? No, it's a history lesson, but it's a fun history lesson. That's our show for this week. Come in and buy books. We got lots. Let me tell you, we got lots and lots of good stuff. It was probably, aside from maybe King of Black, the end of King of Black, this has been my favorite week out of 2021. It is absolutely an amazing week for comics. We got a lot. Come get them. We'll see you guys later. Take care, Green Machine friends and fans of fun. I haven't been using that quote in a while. It's been a minute.